Hello! It's been a long time since I did a video again. I haven't filmed one since I moved into a new house, but here I am now and I'm gonna hopefully get back in the swing of doing them regularly. I know I've said this before, I really mean it this time. This is the summer where I get myself organised and start doing all the things that I enjoy doing more often rather than coming home from work and sitting around exhausted. So, let's get straight onto the books, shall we? I'm doing these all kind of out of order. Trying to do them in order that I received them, but we'll just see what happens. So the first book that I'm going to mention that I received in the past couple of months was an e-copy of You Will Grow Into Them by Malcolm Devlin, and this is published by Unsung Stories. This is a collection of short stories by Malcolm Devlin that I was sent for a review. I finished reading it. I'm going to post a review on my blog probably tomorrow. I don't read many short stories, but I'm trying to kind of broaden my reading horizons this year, and I thought this would be a good way to do it. And unfortunately, I didn't really like the endings on many of the stories. I'll talk about it more in my reading wrap-up that I'm going to film shortly. But basically, most of the endings on these short stories left me feeling a bit unsatisfied. I didn't really get the answers that I was looking for from them. They kind of left it up to you to interpret what had been going on, and for me that just wasn't really what I wanted. The next book that I want to mention is physical copies. I got a review copy of Exodus by Alex Lamb from The Nice People at Glance. This is the third book in a trilogy. I haven't read the other two yet, but my boyfriend hasn't really liked them, so I'm going to start on book one, which is called Roboteer, very soon. These are definitely on the science end of the science fiction fantasy spectrum. I mentioned before that I tend to stick to more of the fantasy kind of end, so again, stretching out my comfort zone, taking people's recommendations, and I'll see what I think of it. But I am glad that the whole of the trilogy is out now, so I can just rattle through them if I want to. Next, I went to the YA Book Prize social evening that they organised in conjunction with the Drink YA group, who are based in London. This is the third year of the prize, and it's the third year they've done this gathering. Just have a bunch of bookish fans come together with the authors. The authors do a little panel. And this year it was hosted at the Twitter HQ, which was really cool, and they had goodie bags at the end of the evening, and in my goodie bag I got Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. This is published by Hotkey Books, and I believe it came out in the past couple of months. I'd actually heard a bit about this book. I think I had a reading from it, from the author. I've seen him on a few panels, but I've not actually read any of his books yet, but he comes across as a really interesting guy, and I've heard great things about his writing. This is a YA book, as you can guess by it being published by Hotkey Books, and I am really excited to read it. It sounds like a lot of fun. On the back, look at this beautiful cover as well. Isn't that great? And on the back, and it says, "Magic is a con game." I love con stories, so I love magic and things, so I'm so excited to read this book. It's probably going to be one that I get to soon. Look at those end papers as well. It's such a gorgeous copy. I'm so happy that I got this in my goodie bag. Next, early in June, the most recent book by Nalini Singh came out. This is Silver Silence. I loved this one. I'll talk about it in my reading wrap-up. I'm a big Nalini Singh fan, and this it's in the same world as her Psy Changeling series, but they kind of got to a halt, and this is what she's calling kind of season 2 of the Psy Changeling world after some big changes. So we've kind of shifted focus on the world. Instead of being in the San Francisco Bay Area, this one is set in Russia. It focuses on a shapeshifter bear pack there, and I think those are going to be the focus for the next few books, and I really enjoyed meeting some of the bears in this book. They were a really fun bunch, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other books in this series. So that was a book that I read and enjoyed. Another book that I got that I don't have to show you a physical copy of is my lovely friend Hannah, works at HarperCollins, and kindly found a copy of Elena Oliphant is Completely Fine for me. You've probably heard of this one. It's by Gail Honeyman and published by HarperCollins. This is about a girl in Scotland who is completely fine, as the title says. I've read the first couple of chapters. It's interesting, it's not quite what I was expecting, and Elena Oliphant is definitely not fine, I think is my conclusion so far. I will talk about that in a wrap-up video once I've finished reading it. Next, a book that I requested for a review a little while ago, and it went on a little journey before getting to me because it was sent to an old address that I haven't lived in for a little while. Luckily my brother still lives in Edinburgh and he was able to rescue this book for me, and that is I Have No Secret by Penny Joelson. This is published by Electric Monkey. It was sent to me for review. I'm going to get on this one soon because I think it has now been published and I've heard good things about it. It's about a 14-year-old girl who has cerebral palsy. She can't communicate well. Sometimes people talk around her and sometimes people tell her things. And I think someone's died or there's been some kind of crime, and this girl knows what happened and can't communicate that to the world. It sounds like a really cool premise, so I'm looking forward to reading that. The next book, another one that I've actually read now, is The Adamantine Palace by Stephen Diaz. This series came out a little while ago, or this book anyway, and I've been meaning to read them for a little while because, as you can guess from the cover, it has dragons in. I love a good dragon book. It's published by Gollancz. I read this on holiday last week and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to talk about this in my wrap-up, but I highly recommend this and I'm really pleased that the other books in the series are out, so I'll be going to track down the next one very soon. The next book to talk about is Graceling by Kristin Cashore. This one I have borrowed from my boyfriend. He read it recently and really enjoyed it. This is another one that's kind of been on my wish list for a long time, basically since the book came out. This came out in 2008. So almost 10 years ago, but the good thing about that is, as with many of these books today, the whole series is now available, so if I do enjoy it, which I think I will from what I've heard all about it, then I can go on to the others afterwards, yay! So hopefully I'll be getting to that one at some point this summer. This is a fantasy book. I don't really know the specifics at the moment, but once I've read this I will talk about it in more detail. The last physical book that I've got to show you at the moment is The Versions of Oz by Laura Barnett. I don't know so much about this book, I can't remember. It's about a couple of students at Cambridge whose lives they meet there for the first time and then over the course of their lives they meet at different points. I've seen it get really good reviews. Don't really know much about this one, but I've looked at it a few times, having had a lot of buzz about it when it first came out, and someone was rehoming this from work, so I thought I would pick it up and see what I think of it. My last book to talk about is another one that I got for a review, and that is Vigil by Angela Slater. It is published by Joe Fletcher Books, who kindly sent me an e-copy for a review. This is an urban fantasy series. I hadn't heard of it before, but book 2 is coming out in June or July. Either came out in June or is coming out in July. So I've started reading this one now. It's off to a good start. I'm only a couple of chapters in. I'm really hoping that I like it because it's been a while since I found any new urban fantasy authors. It's been a while since I read much urban fantasy, full stop. So I would really like for this one to live up to my hopes. And then if it does, of course, I will have the second book to go on to, which is quite exciting. It's set in Australia. It's set in Brisbane, I believe, but I might be wrong about that. And again, I will be reviewing this one soon once I've finished it, and we'll talk about it in more detail then. So those are all the books that I received in May and June. I promise I will do a July book haul at the end of July rather than in a couple of months' time, but I think I'm doing better at not taking in too many books and also trying to catch up on my TBR pile. Yeah, so if you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them, or what books have you been reading recently. I'd love to hear some more recommendations for you guys, especially if you have urban fantasy books that you've really enjoyed recently that have come out in the past few years. Let me know in the comments. I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye!